Best video game franchise. What do we like? We got sports games. We got action games.
Now I can't hear nobody. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness, bro.
How did we get here?
What are we talking about?
Right.
And it's always the high pitched, like, oh my god.
Put both of them. I'm not a sports guy. You could put both of those games in front of me. I would not know the difference.
Shut the hell up.
Connect to my Xbox. So whenever I go traveling, I don't need to.
But that's stupid. That's like, that point is stupid. That's like saying, you know what? iPhone's better because I can connect it to my iPad.
They'll only respect you more though if you don't come out on this podcast and go talk to them first before you officially come out the closet.
You gotta do what you do, bro. You gotta do what you gotta do. Kiss some toes, eat some ass, you know.
Mike had a vasectomy and still had a baby.
Vice City was the one.
Oh!
Yes!
You might have just won me over. Vice City is the greatest GTA ever.
I just started Death Note. I've never watched it. And I was just
Oh my god!
Well, you're bottom heavy. Your legs are muscular. You're up.
Do you think my ass is fat? That's crazy.
That's
We gotta
not
end this conversation.
That's not
Thank you guys for streaming Brilliant Swag. What's up? You guys are watching Brilliant Swag. I am your host, Chris Lowe. No, you can just call me Lowe. We have Mike here. We have all right. We got Ilium down there. We got Keone over there. We're here discussing the tomfoolery that is that is Dr. Umar. All right. And we're wondering, conscious, clownery, where do we draw the line here?
Well, the funny
What's
thing
going
is
on with
everybody doesn't think it's tomfoolery. That's the sad part. That's
Hey,
the sad part.
based on current events of today, it's supposed to be, and all it is supposed to be, is a difference of opinion. And I think that rhetoric is also dangerous.
Well, here's the thing for me. It's 2025.
Mm.
We don't live in the age of waiting for the mail to come in or waiting for the newspaper to be thrown on our porches by the little kid that has for Timmy's paper route, right? We're not.
Right.
We have the internet. We have evidence. How many videos?
We have receipts.
Do people have to watch that still blindly support this man and will come to his defense? That's the thing for me. That's and stop trying to say, well, if you go against him, that I'm the danger to the black community. Oh, I'm sorry, the Pan-African community.
Yeah,
the Afrikaners community.
the African medical.
You gonna tell me how to be a responsible black man when you have babies, mamas out here, but you down in everybody else?
Exactly.
See, so my view on him is, at first thought, he seems like he might have a good reasoning, like, oh, he's pro-black, he's pro this, he's pro that. But when you start going into deep dive of what he's actually about, I'm like, your message is not lining up to what you're proclaiming that you're trying to be around.
Yeah,
But
essentially.
what's your timeline? Oh yeah, I want to ask Mike this. What's your timeline though? Because it's been over a decade. So of course when he came out the gate hot, right?
Yeah.
He came out the gate hot, and it only took me about a year for that phrase that that old phrase of everybody that's your kind ain't your kind to kind of unravel. It don't take me a decade to realize you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, especially like Lowe said, in the age of receipts. Go ahead, Ian. But I'm sorry, not go ahead, Ian. Mike, what's your timeline that it didn't line up for you?
I was still in high school when Obama, first became president. Or I was still in school when Obama first became president. And that's around the time where everybody was like, we got a first black president. Everybody is hoorah, hoorah type deal with, black presidents and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, I fell into that crowd of being like, yeah, I'm more of a pro-black. I'm pro-black now. Like, if you ask me anything, I'm pro-black now.
Well, I mean, I hate when people say that, as opposed to what? If you're Irish, you don't be pro-Irish.
No,
because my thing there is like, nothing wrong with being pro-black. You know what I'm saying? Just as long as you're not making it like anti-something because you're pro-black.
Oh, no. I would never disparage another group based off of my own skin color. So I would never do that.
I prefer the old saying Afrocentric. I used to be very Afrocentric. I still am. And I feel like Dr. Umar is on that very radical end of
He's an extremist.
being Afrocentric because he's just like taking it to a level it doesn't need to be.
Mm.
He likes titles. So we got to be careful with words, and I always say careful because this is why today people talk about liberal, conservative, not to get political, and people say words and don't know what they mean. Like Bill Burr, one of my favorite comedians, always say, one of the things those white people do is we took the word woke, and most of the people that use woke don't even know what the hell it means.
Right.
So I wouldn't call him a radical because radicals would be insulted. You
Right.
can throw him into the extremist.
And that's why I use that word extremist. But
well, yeah.
But even extremists is hard because extremists at least follow their beliefs.
Right.
Well, he out here just doing whatever the hell he won't do.
Yeah, they don't change. They don't talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me that. I remember, because he has his things against, snow bunnies, as he says, or homosexuals, as he says. I saw him once tell a homosexual man that he has no say because he's not a man. And that homosexual man says, well, I don't live in my mama's house and live off of her disability. I have my own house, my own 2 cars, and I raise 2 kids. So who's more of a man? The homosexual with his own house and 2 cars that raises 2 kids and has a job, or the guy who tells this person he's not a real man as he lives in his mom's house because he accidentally flipped his camera backwards one time and we saw his messy room. Which one is the real man?
Yeah.
When a real man has bills, what does he do?
When a real man goes to work and pays them.
He pays them. Oh, wait. He ain't even got to do that.
Because
he got $1.2 million in donations. He didn't even have to work for it. Came out of the gate hot, right?
Yeah.
Certain things he said that already threw me off. When he said that he didn't respect Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte because they married white women. And I'm like, they've done more for black people than you have. So if I had to take life choices from Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte or you, I'm choosing Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
That's just me. Maybe I'm weird.
Without question. No, without question.
He wanted to start a school for Pan-African to help young black boys, whether he said in other cities where he tried, but basically he decided to have the school in Delaware. To help young black people. Not in Mississippi, not in Georgia, not Louisiana, not
Delaware.
Texas, not Miami, in Delaware. Okay, got it.
Delaware of all places.
This is over 10 years ago. He started taking donations for the school, and every time someone wanted an update on the school, he'd always say, if you ain't a donator, I don't owe you any answers. Got it. I respect that. How you going to get new donations if you don't want to answer questions? But he said if they weren't donating now, they weren't going to donate in the future, which is already dumb.
Yeah.
That's why they're called new donors.
Right, exactly.
So check that box, right? So every time the school is supposed to be built, there's some setback. And the setback is always the white man or self-hating Negroes getting in the way and blocking blessings and all of that. Meanwhile, I get it, but where is this money being spent? Where is this team that he keeps talking about? When people wanted to join the team, you had contractors. Anytime you have a passion project like that and get the kind of following, companies are going to want to come in and get that good press by donating, building, doing whatever. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want money from the white man, he said, the government. He wanted to build it with black people, from the money on the backs of black people. Even again, like Mike said, I can respect that, even though that's never been done in history. Okay?
Yeah.
I can respect that, right? Moving along. We finally get some shell of the buildings. We're always being told updates of what's supposed to be in the building, what's not supposed to be in the building. All we need is the floor, the tile, and the HVAC. That's what the big thing was. We just need the HVAC. All these HVAC contractors came out. I got my own team. I don't need no other team. I got it. Okay, brother, it's been 10 years. There are people in states like Texas, New York, that have built black schools for black children, starting small and now are big, that were trying to help him and giving advice. He don't need it. He's got his own team. Now here we are in 2025. There's still no open school.
Nothing.
There's still no staff been hired. No one still knows who's on the team. And now when they got notices that these buildings, because if you have an abandoned building or a building not in use, there's a different type of tax you're supposed to pay for that building, okay, which he wasn't paying. He's one of his biggest thing, and I'm going all over the place, but there's so much you got to catch up on. One of the things
Mhm.
was he said he was notified of a delinquency back in like March. His response was, "We haven't heard anything from the city since March. If your cable company tells you your bill is late and don't communicate you in 5 months, you think the bill just goes away?" Oh, let's see. City Slicker number one says, "Oh, Lo, you're the host. You read that."
Yeah, but my second thing I was going to ask quick because I don't know why I'm just noticing this. Are you in jail, Keone?
I'm where he should be.
Ah,
That's
well,
where I
there
am
it
today.
is.
So over here,
City Slicker number
this
one
over
says,
here, right here in this cell, R. Kelly's right
uh,
here. This
ah,
one right here, it says still reserved for P. Diddy. He ain't here yet. This one says reserved for
borderline
Dr.
got up,
Umar. Harvey Weinstein is over here. Yeah, because they in here too.
hung up.
This ain't just a black prison. So I got a lot of people in here, and there's some reservations in here. But what does City
Still
Slicker
segregated,
say?
I see.
Yeah.
Right, right.
City Slicker number one said, I graduated high school, joined the army, traveled the world for 5 years, and started college. Literally from him saying he's going to start to him about his HVAC donations 2 months ago.
Right.
And
That's
he
been the
still
thing,
ain't.
Lo.
Wow.
The people that were supposed to go to the school as elementary students when he started this are damn near in college. And then his
And to
biggest
see
thing he
that,
says, "Do y'all know you can always tell when someone's losing an argument or they're caught when they immediately go to anger and start
Mhm.
raising their voice. Do you all know how hard it is to build a school? Yes, it's very hard. That's why
It's
the black
hard.
people who have done it was trying to tell you how to do it."
Right.
And it has, and also help him do it.
Yeah,
But then
exactly.
he turned that help down. And what I don't like about this entire scenario is that he ends up being like the face of a bad black person, so to say, or that's what they will look at when they want to down black people, and when black people want to do things for the community and fall short. That's what they're gonna look at, and then we all get like denominized to that. And I
Well,
don't.
we are the only race that gets characterized by our worst, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
like when
Right.
somebody tells me you don't sound black, and I always go, "Well, how the fuck am I supposed to sound? I'm black, and there's words coming out of my mouth. Am I supposed to talk a certain way?" Because, and if a
Right.
white person says it to me, I say, "Well, you don't sound like trailer trash from Oklahoma." Well, I'm not.
Right.
Well, then why don't you get measured by your worst? Why do I have to talk like I'm from Miami?
Demure. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Why do I have to talk a certain way or act a certain way if you don't?
I get that a lot because I have a unique voice anyway, so people automatically think, "Oh, you don't sound black. What are you
No, you
talking
sound
about?"
like you smoke Newports. That's what you sound.
Not
You sound like
You
you
sound like,
smoke Newports and drink gin out the
I'm
bottle
about
in
to
a
say,
brown
like,
bag.
you sound like your tongue is up here.
Lo, you
Yeah.
sound like everybody uncle. If you paint somebody as the face of something who is not cleared unanimously by a culture as the face of something, you're just doing a disservice. One reason why he can't get the damn school built is because he can't sit his ass down and get the school built. Why is your ass in Africa?
Or why is your ass out here getting these random dates being paid for by these women?
Ain't nobody paid for them damn dates. Ain't nobody $500 date with the doctor.
Why is
Yeah,
that one of his focuses though?
Ian,
Instead of
did
getting
you
to that school.
did you see when that came up? The 500. Well, he's clarified since then that it's some reality TV. That's the thing he does. He moves the goalposts when he gets the backlash.
I
He
hate
came on
that.
there and said he's starting a new program. And this is what I hate about anything, whether it's politics, when people tell us something and the supporters try to explain to us what they meant. Bitch, I got ears. Okay. I'm grown. I understand. I have comprehension skills. He said he's
Exactly.
starting a new program, Date with the Doctor, for $500 donation, a restaurant of your choosing you can go to and have a date with the doctor. Yeah, that $500 is going to pay for the restaurant. And he keeping the change. Now, you know what? When somebody pick a restaurant where the steak is like $200, he might, and that could have been what happened.
Ruth Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody probably donated and picked a place that was too expensive that didn't that $500 didn't cover, and so he changed it to a reality show where he gets to sit down and talk. Nobody want to sit down and talk with your ass.
Hell no.
City Slicker number one says, but Dr. Umar fell off in 11, but his memes and one-liners all the way up, to be honest, would have made a better comedian just saying, I think people go down the wrong path. Like,
Well, you know
keeping
why
the
he would
change
have
is
failed
wild.
as a comedian?
Huh,
Because he's
wow.
not trying to be funny.
That's true.
Comedians are trying to be funny. He's not trying to be funny. This is really him, and he doesn't understand that he is a caricature. I'm gonna help Harold get on here in a minute. Harold's gonna be on. He's an activist. He's the first president of the NAACP in South Miami. And he's also been an educator for over 30 years. He's also worked in political office. He's going to be on here. I always mess with him when I call him. I say, hey, you heard about from your friend, Dr. Umar? And he gets so mad at me. But yeah, what's your next question, Lo? For Mike? Because Mike is an Umar supporter, by the way.
No. Let's not do that. Let's not throw me under the bus and say I'm my supporter.
Well, Mike. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you a
Let's put
second,
him
Mike.
on
Let me
full
talk to you.
screen.
So yeah, Mike, how do you balance the passion needed to energize people with the discipline needed to keep credibility in the public eye, you Umar supporter?
Because the way I see it, I have to move the goalpost and so much and try to make sure that his values align with all of America.
Uh-huh.
And
What? What
see,
the
it
hell?
sounds like nonsense because no, that's not who I am.
Yeah, you definitely dumping that in it.
And he got a shirt on that says "Unleashed."
What are we unleashing?
You
The
can't make
beast in
this
the
shit up.
Middle East.
Oh, there's
Don't
Ian.
be dropping no
Jesus.
bombs.
Why is Ian falling out the side of his phone?
Wow. Hold on a second.
Have you ever heard of a computer?
It
My
would save your
computer's
life.
down. My computer's having issues.
Oh my
You got to
god!
take it to them technicians.
So I don't even know. First of all, if I'm a black parent living in, let's say, Florida, and let's say I believed in Dr. Umar, and I wanted my child to go to school, how the hell am I getting them all the way up to Delaware? Number one, because most of the people that he panders to, this is not like it's a private school where there's affluent people who are lined up to go to that school, right?
Mhm.
You raise the money to build the school, but how are you going to maintain the school? You can't maintain a school off of donations. LeBron James, you see what's happening with LeBron James's school, and it didn't take him 10 years to build it, but you see what's happening with that school right now. It's not being maintained and it's failing, not because of people not trying, but it's hard
People
to
don't know what goes
try
into making a
to
school
run
and
a
keeping it
school.
funded.
You've got to pay teachers, and you've got to pay teachers more than what they're making at public school, because then I just go teach at the damn public school. Why would I come to your specialized school to make more? And then when he starts, you just have to listen to people. When he starts talking about what they're going to do at the school, we're going to have an aviation program. We're going to have a criminal justice program. We're going to have, how you going to have you got simulators? You got
Yeah, like,
planes? What pilots are you
There's
hiring?
probably a simulator he downloaded off of the Steam
Yeah.
client for video games.
Aviator 22. Y'all never played Aviator 22?
Aviator Simulator 2.
Oh, what
Thanks,
the
Pat.
2000,
engineers? The engineers,
2015.
when you go in the engineers class, they all play in Sim City. Is that
Right.
what
Yes. Very much so. Learn how to build your house today. Sim City 2. And that's the thing that you get with a lot of influencers.
grifters?
And I mean,
Grifters?
yeah, grifters, I guess.
Because
You want to
influencer
call.
has become a dirty word, but all influencers aren't like this. And I
No,
don't
no,
know,
Yeah.
no.
It's
panderers.
what you get though with a lot of that follow these influencers, and I feel like I feel weird saying it too because I feel like I be on the premise of being an influencer, trying to like here play this game, play that, play this, for the video game shit and stuff. But
Yeah,
then
exactly.
you get a lot of people who are in the influencer zone that are dealing with political views, racial outlooks, and they influence these same like-minded people who feel like, oh yeah, don't date outside your race, don't do this, don't do that. And I guess that can be a difference of opinion, but like you then are spreading a weird rhetoric, and I mean
I
they're
have a
going blind
question, Ian.
follow.
I have a question, Ian, which is
Yeah.
why do the people that spit that rhetoric the most look the most miserable in relationships?
They're not thinking
Just,
for themselves.
yeah, and I think
They're
for
thinking
themselves,
messing what works
like
for
you said,
them.
they're blind followers.
They like that echo
And
chamber.
blind followers
Mm.
usually, I would say, blind followers usually have heard one, maybe two positive things that they actually like, and then they
Mhm.
black out all the negative. So then they just stay tunnel focused on that one or two good things.
To me, I feel like what they doing is they they get comfortable into an echo chamber, and it's like they hear one thing that they agree with, and they like, okay, I don't agree with this one, but I'm gonna keep going down this rabbit hole with them because
But
I agree on this one point, and they don't like to hear opposition or hear anything else.
And that's a scary thing. And there's no problem, especially like in a household like I am, there's no problem hearing the opposition and speaking out to it and like speaking with it. Like I welcome an opposition to however way I may be moving, but like note that just because I don't leave the conversation saying I think you're correct or that you're right does not mean that we can no longer, move as was a people in this society or whatever.
But we talked about pro-black, right? And like Mike said, at first I was with him because he was pro-black. When I'm like, well, you're black, of course you should be pro-black. If you're Irish, you're going to be pro-Irish. Pro doesn't mean you're against everybody else. Pro just um, it means something that everybody else. Of course, there's a dictionary for it, but
Mhm.
pro-black to me means you do anything you can for the uplifting of the people who look like you that are black. And remember, black isn't just African Americans. There's black Hispanics, there's black
Mhm.
Europeans. All of that
Black
is
Asians.
encompassed.
It's a weird thing. It's like Mama Tina Knoll said. She said, you can be pro-black and that's okay. This is not considered anti-white. The two don't go together.
Right.
Just because you celebrate black culture does not mean you don't like white culture or that you're putting it down. It's just you're taking pride in what it is to be in black culture. And they'll
Yeah.
say something like that's reverse racism, but that doesn't exist.
No,
But
it's
they'll
just like
say
when
something like that.
people try to take Black Lives Matter and they say, what are you saying? It matters more? No, they're saying it matters just
Nah,
as much
it
as
matters
everybody
just
else.
as much. It matters too.
When you have to divert what the message is, then you're never gonna get
You're
it.
not understanding it.
Yeah, you're never gonna get it. Or you don't want to get. What did Martin Luther King say the two most dangerous things are? It was sincere ignorance and I think conscientious stupidity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sincere. It's just like, not to get canceled, but there was such a great quote. When people find it hard to talk about Jewish issues, right? And we
Yeah.
all know what comes with that, right? And
Look at
this
Kanye,
is a
I'm kidding.
quote that was said actually by a Holocaust survivor. Okay. Holocaust survivor, Dr. Hajo Meyer said, an anti Semite used to be called a person who dislikes Jews. Now it's a person who Jews dislike. And that's coming from a Holocaust survivor. So what we do is we take these terms and we change them. Pro-black doesn't mean I hate every other race in the world. It's not
Mm-hmm.
neo-Nazi. That's not what pro-black is. So we take these words and we allow people, like in Dr. Umar, to change the narrative of what these words mean. It's like I said earlier. If you're black and you marry a white woman, doesn't mean you're not pro-black. You
Any
just
less
fell in
black than the
love.
other
No,
person.
not at all.
Yeah, and I gave the example that he said he doesn't respect Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte, and I'll say it again. If I had to take life choices from either three of them, Dr. Umar, Sidney Poitier, or Harry Belafonte, I don't think I'm choosing Dr. Umar.
Well, again, my name's Harold Ford. I'm actually a 23 plus year educator with Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
What are the dangers when you have somebody, a Dr. Umar, who tries to become the face of pro-blackness?
Well, part of the danger is, that individuals in certain circles rely really on the ignorance of others, meaning that they feel that if they say it in an authoritative manner, say whatever they say with its full chest, that it's gospel. And the danger of that is they may not even be close to telling you the truth or giving you valid information. And if you don't have a way of fact checking them, you could find yourself navigating or gravitating in a direction that's not to the benefit of you or the community that you may be trying to advocate for yourself. So the dangers, again, of individuals like that is it's hard to really know when they're being 100% truthful or when they're just being surface level with some level of authority or accuracy. And that could, again, mislead a number of people into going in directions that.
Unlike the white people he doesn't like, at least they have the common decency to fudge the numbers and show us false paperwork. This man won't even fudge the numbers and give us fake statements and documents.
He said, nah, get off my back. Get off my black back, damn it.
That's funny.
My question for you, Harold, will be, in your view, when do you feel like a strong message crosses the line into theatrics that hurts the movement more than it helps?
Well, I mean, we see a lot of that. If first, for example, if you're the only time your message is being promulgated is when you're in front of a camera, and you're not doing any work behind the scenes, then it's more performative than it is. And so I try to make sure not only are you talking the talk, but you're walking the walk. And I'm going to watch you from afar before I get too close to you, because again, I need to know where your head and your heart is. If
Yeah.
you for the community, then guess what? You don't have a hidden agenda. But a lot of people that you encounter in certain spaces, especially when it comes to certain things where the possibility of some level of monetary gain may exist, you're going to find out that they're not there for the community. They're there for whatever that bag that they can grab to move their agenda forward.
Then them parking lot warriors. You ever been worked at a place where you're sitting around as employees and you're like, when we get in this meeting, we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna say this, and everybody's like, yeah, we're right here with you. Then you get in the meeting and nobody has anything to say but you.
Nobody
Yeah,
there. They just
nobody.
said,
Where y'all with?
Exactly.
Ian, you got something?
Yeah, I have a question. So my question would be, at what point do you actually believe, like someone like Dr. Umar? How much do you believe of actually the stuff that you say? Are you just saying it for the clicks, the views, the people to have a conversation to make you seem like an Uncle Tom or whatever the case, or this black superstar that you're supposed to be? Or does he actually believe any of the stuff he's saying?
I think sometimes we miss warning signs. A lot of people, if they're the only one right every time, that's a big warning.
we should look at that.
Oh, you're bringing up my PTSD from that paper I
Oh,
told
my
you.
bad, my bad, my
No,
bad.
no, tell them
But
the
no,
story.
but,
They've never
but no.
heard
I
the
mean,
story. You can
think
tell them.
about it. Think about what you just said. He had an issue with Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte. You said,
Who have done
yeah,
more for
but
black people
he,
on
he
one finger than he does in
the,
his whole has
the
done in his whole life.
okay, but the question is, if he had been around when they were going through the civil rights movement, would
Mhm.
he be as authoritative as he is now? See, it's easier to talk when you're on the other side of the fight. It's easier to talk when
Mhm.
you're behind the lines and somebody else is taking the hits for you. But when you're on the front line and the shots are coming at you, lack of a better term, is he really going to be as authoritative? Because I can tell you this: we did have a period of time where black leadership was lacking because of the assassination of MLK, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, and
Mhm.
our brother from Chicago, Jesus, Fred Hampton. See, when our leaders started being taken out, you didn't see people stepping up real quick, did you? There was a drain
Very
for quite
slow
some
grind.
time. There was a drain for quite some time before eventually people started stepping back up again. So if he had been back there, and even Harry Belafonte and
Mhm.
Sidney Poitier had to be strategic in the moves that they were making. And if you start doing a little research, you'll find out Aretha Franklin was deep in the movement, but she
Mhm.
had to move a certain way. In
Yeah.
other words, she didn't want to put herself out front, but she made sure if she had your back, she had your back in many different ways. So I think a lot of times it's easy to speak out when you're on this side of the civil rights movement. In other words, would he have not given up his seat on the bus?
He said he'll say yeah, but we all know the answer to that. One of the things that I always talk about, Harold, also when people talk about pro-black and we don't need this and that, I always say this: you cannot win a fight if everybody in the fight is exactly like you. Like if you're fighting for gay rights, you can't just have gay people fighting for. You've got to have some heterosexuals in there. If you're fighting for
Yeah.
women's right, it just can't be women barking. There has to be some men in there. If you're fighting for Asian rights, black rights, whatever you're doing, because some of the people that you mentioned, Harry Belafonte, Aretha Frank, well, older than Aretha Franklin, like the James Browns of the world, who was one of the people that put their career on the line? Ed
Mhm.
Sullivan back in the day. Because producers kept telling him, we're not putting all these black acts on this show. What are you doing? America's not going to
Yeah.
watch. And he said, I bet you they will. I bet you they will. And I want to
Yep.
show how talented these people are. So you have to have somebody that's in the fight with you that doesn't look
Who
like you.
doesn't
You
look
can't
like
just
you? Yeah.
invalidate. There were, I'm not going to parade over ours, but there are people of different ethnicities that put their lives on the line. Black history, the white guys that came down south with the
Oh, Schwerner, the three civil rights voter registration, Freedom Riders,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
they
three Freedom
they
Riders,
they could have sat at home. They didn't
Cheney,
have to come
Schwerner,
down
and
here.
I forget the last one.
Yeah, they could have
Yeah.
sat at home. They didn't have to come down here. They didn't look like me.
Okay,
They
and
could
I
have
and
stayed
I'll
and watch it all just unfurl, and well, it's not affecting me, so why should I
Yeah.
do anything about it? You know.
and a lot of people don't know. I mean, if I ask each of you, what do you know about the NAACP? I mean, real quick, just quick answer. Each of you, just real quick. What do you know about the NAACP?
it promotes it's trying to promote the wellness of the betterment for Black people.
Oh well, that's I was taught that
I
it was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lo.
Oh, the only thing I was gonna say is that the only thing I really know more so about is that it was founded around the civil rights movements or organization
Hmm.
almost about 100 years ago. And
116 to be
they're
exact.
still, yeah, and they're still giving out awards for I think people who are doing more things within that movement.
Okay,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's for the advancement of color people. It's in the name, but correct me if I'm wrong, and I know you will, and I hope I'm not wrong. It was actually created and started by non-African Americans.
Partially correct.
I was thinking it was actually started up partially by the Black Panther family.
By who? I'm sorry.
No, that's a
Okay.
movie. It wasn't in Wakanda, Ian.
Yeah.
Don't, don't do
Well,
it.
let me give you a quick, brief history of the NAACP. Basically, what happened is it started as a response to the Springfield, Illinois race riot
Hmm.
or race massacre that happened in 1908. And in 1909, a group of 60 people met north of the Niagara River in Canada because that back in those days it was illegal for Black people to meet in groups. So those individuals, those 60 people, and took part of what W.E.B. Du Bois had already established called the Niagara Movement, the tenets from that movement, they basically put them into what we know now as the NAACP. And the NAACP was started by 60 individuals, 7 of which were Black.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, I should have said majority, and a lot of people don't know that. Did
And
you guys
so
know that?
and I tell people, and I have to remind people that we are not a quote unquote Black organization. We fight for the
Right.
advancement of colored people. But again, it's a common, I guess,
Misconception.
I can't say mistake, but it's a common reference that we often hear. And that's why even the name doesn't say Black. And that's where
Mhm.
John got that. Y'all know him as Keone. I know him as John. So, I'm but that's where he
Go
came
on.
up, and was able to kind of articulate that. But again, knowing that in 1909, because of race riots, we had to have this organization established, and through the years, it morphed into what it is today. It started as a civil rights response organization. However, it has grown into dealing with not just civil rights or civil rights from a legal standpoint, but also environmental rights, health rights, voter rights, women's rights, LGBTQ community rights. And right now, they've initiated within the last, I want to say, 2 years. We have now in all of the branches all across the country, and even including in the national office, an LGBTQ committee
Mm.
that focuses on issues within the LGBTQ community.
I know the group majority Black people, but there's
Hmm.
other races as well in there. But I feel like inherently, even though there's so many bad things that happened to us, I feel like as a community, we're always so for the advancement of everybody, not just people who look like us, but like BU Latino, BU Asian,
Some of us.
European. But the majority of us, we're so for the advancement of everybody else along with us.
They always say
Well,
that Lo, it's easier to be accepted in Black spaces than Black people are accepted in other spaces.
and
You
that's
know,
what's happened. It began, as this train where we had all of these different groups in the train moving down the track. But there are times during this whole 116-year period or timeline where some of those folks jumped off the train while the train was still moving because
Yeah,
things got a little hot, things get a little
well,
not too
testy,
hard.
Harold, do you remember Joe Madison,
and
right? He said, he always brought up when Martin Luther King was gaining ground, everybody wasn't on board. There was a
no,
lot of Black preachers coming into him saying, "Hey, you're stirring the pot.
Yeah, you're
You're
doing too
doing
much.
it. You're doing too right. You're doing too much. You're doing too much."
right.
But those were just like you said on this side of the fence. But those were people who were comfortable in where they were. Those were people who got a
And we
little
have that still
insight.
today.
Yeah.
There's
Well, I
there are
mean,
people who are very comfortable where they are right now, and to the point where they're saying that there's no
Hey,
racism
oh,
today.
oh, that one kills me. You gonna start a whole
That
nother hour.
and then they'll
Here-
also say within that there's no systemic racism as
You know
well.
what?
And I'm
Hold on.
like,
Go
That's
ahead. I'm gonna
crazy.
pull up the picture, Harold, while
and
he said that. My favorite picture to
there's
put up.
There's no, I mean, and you will hear that reference, and a lot of times it could be someone who does not have that experience. So to
yeah,
them, they don't know, they don't understand. They came from privilege more so than poverty.
it's so
You know,
crazy though because like even if it hasn't
Yeah, but
happened to you, you can't turn a blind eye
well,
to somebody's experience.
I agree with you 100%.
Lo is right,
Look.
because
But
I said early on the show, it's not like we're waiting for little Timmy to do his paper route and throw the newspaper on the porch. We have the
You know,
freaking internet. We've got
and
YouTube.
we're
And
here.
here's my favorite thing. Harold's already seen this. Why? Tell me there's no racism. Tells me there's no racism in this country when Shiloh Hendricks, a white woman from Minnesota who went viral after she was caught on camera using a racial slur against a 5-year-old child at a park on 28 April, has received an unexpected support of more than 790,000. By the way, last time I checked, it was almost up to 1 million in
Yep.
online donations. The money came from Give and Go, a platform known for hosting fundraisers linked for far-right causes. Her campaign drew over 30,000 supporters, many of whom left donation messages containing racial slurs and Nazi symbols. But there's no racism. No.
Well,
You
I
just
signed a petition to get that money given back to whoever sent it to her, and I was
it,
hoping that it would have,
it's not going to work because it's not
Right.
GoFundMe.
Of course not.
It's not GoFundMe.
because
It's Give
I
and Go.
remember that happening. That's just I was so mad. But there's no racism happening in this country.
No,
No,
there's,
not at all.
there's none at all. None at all.
it's a figment of my imagination. I get it.
Figment of your imagination.
And it's what kills me though is that that's being said too by other black people that there's no racism in this country. Because remember, you said there are people who are very comfortable where they're at,
Because they live a life.
or how they were brought up.
We're going to leave black
to feel
conservatives.
like.
We're going to leave black
Mhm.
conservatives out of it. But Harold, circling back to what Lo just said and what I'm talking about, it goes back to this. So you have people who realize there's racism in the world, but then there's people that capitalize on that
Mhm.
racism. Back to Dr. Umar, who was the crux of this
Mhm.
whole episode. He knows that he can pander to black people who are super fed up on racism, but aren't willing to open their eyes to what he's saying, and he can keep relying on them because there's people still donating, which is
Yeah.
absurd.
Right. But that's part of a grifting strategy. If you're a grifter, you're a grifter. You know how to siphon money from people. You know how to. Again, he's positioning himself as if he has the answers or all the solutions to the ills within our community. And through him, if you support, if you donate, if you give, then he will put that solution forward. However, we know
It ain't
even up
happening.
until recently, it's not happening. So really, what's happening with the flow? What's happening with the money? He's doing the
going to
same
rent.
thing others have done in this country when they feel the pulse of, for example, there are certain individuals who will never be elected president, but every 4 years they campaign, they get all these donations, and they collect those millions.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the campaign, they haven't paid anybody and they haven't done anything with it. They transfer it over to their nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
and live off it
And
for
they
the
start
next.
spending that credit card, that
Yeah.
company card.
They
I'm telling
can't
you.
even be
No.
mayor of the.
Because
Oh wait, but it's not for all black people now. It's just Pan Africans. Okay, so remember, it's the Pan African Prince of Panhandling. Wolves will always find sheep. So everybody knows what an MLM company is, right?
Yeah,
Multi-level
Multi-level
marketing, or as we call it, the legal Ponzi scheme.
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
the little
So back when I
pyramid.
I
was
thought it was
young,
insurance. Okay.
yeah,
No,
back
never
when I
mind.
was young, I did the dumb thing of 20-some years ago of joining a
We all been there.
MLM.
Mhm.
Huh?
We all been there. I said we
Yeah,
all
but
been
what was
there.
funny
It's all right.
was since I was a top seller, they let me go to one of the meetings, and the person that was in charge of like the whole region was a pastor. So we're in here, and the pastor's gonna come talk. He's also, our leader. When the door shut, he said, "All right, y'all, we're doing good, but some of y'all ain't. Let me show you how to separate these suckers from their money." And I was like, "What? You just introduced him as pastor such and such, regional leader." And the next thing out of his mouth was, "Let me show you how to separate these suckers from their money. You got two things you can be in life, a sheep or a wolf. Which one y'all gonna be today?
That's
Separate
powerful.
these suckers from their money." Now, that was before the age of pulling out all your cell phones and social media. That would have been a nice
Just-
little viral
Oh,
clip
yeah.
to go ahead and put up.
Just
The
sitting in your
people
chair like,
the people in his church could have heard him say that.
Mhm.
woo, he would
hell?
have lost that church quicker than that thing.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
no. That's the
Well,
thing. There
no,
are
'cause
people who will still
people will still mess with him, yeah, I'm sure. But like, I feel like on the basis of him being black, it would have been raps.
It happens all the time, Lo. It happens all the time. You know when they fall from grace? When the feds come.
And they'll come quicker on this black ass than they would somebody Caucasian.
It's just, but that was an eye opener for me. I was like,
Yes, I know you
did
had
he
to leave that
really
shit
just
quick. I was
say
like, the cult meter was
no,
alarming.
no? But
I
that's
usually,
my opinion.
I have my run-ins with cults. I usually leave when it gets a bit too culty. You dib and dabble.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
look like a person that would fall for a cult every now and then.
I like to come in, see what it's about, see what people are
Oh God,
saying, and
you want to
when it
get the
gets too crazy, I
pamphlet?
dive out. I
Look,
just
Harold Lowe walks into the cult. This is how he judges the cult. Well, let's see how if the pamphlet's printed on good paper or that cheap
how's the
paper.
food?
Do they have? I was going to go
First
to
and
that next.
foremost,
What's the
how's
spread
the
like?
food?
He just came to get some food off the thing. You better be careful. You don't know if that
I,
food is laced with
I
something.
do I do a sniff test. I usually can smell if there's a little
You do
cyanide
realize
in there.
there's
Okay,
odorless poisons, right?
Mhm.
you got to go
This
into
is
Alien's box.
Ian on his wife's account. More technical difficulties. Sorry.
You got to go into Ian's box. It looks like.
I'm gonna go with I can't. I can't with him. Harold, first of all, just to let you guys peek behind the curtain, Harold is my uncle. He grew up around the corner from me. So when we
Hi,
started
Uncle
doing
Harold.
the conversation with him, the political show that's now in its third year, it was very hard because you used to calling somebody Uncle Harold the whole time you're growing up. So every time I
But you
say
gotta,
Harold, it always
yeah.
felt weird. When I call you, what do I call you?
Uncle Harold.
Uncle Harold, because I don't want to get punched in the face.
I
He's not an aggressive man, but he's still from that
was like, he
school of
doesn't seem aggressive. He will definitely
no,
throw.
no,
It
no,
seems like
no.
he'll definitely throw
Harold's not
hands,
aggressive. He's a lover. He's
verbally.
an educator, but make no
But I
mistake.
am from G Town. Just remember that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
make no
I
mistake.
am from G Town. Just
Yeah,
remember that.
make no mistake. I'm not walking up to him calling him Harold in person. Just make no mistake.
Well, business is business. I wouldn't expect it any other way. All right.
So, Mike, I apologize for attacking you pre-show. Because
Damn it,
then you
sorry.
said, well, I'm going to justify why I think he has good ideas. And I said, I'm going to listen to that just as fast as I'm going to listen to somebody who tries to justify Hitler. No, thank you. I'm not comparing the two,
Well,
but it's
Or
just something
one,
Kurt.
that
I
I
mean, he
don't
ain't
want.
saying.
but truth be told, he is charismatic and he does draw people in initially.
Uh-huh.
But once you begin to listen over and over and over and begin to process a lot of what's being, then it's when you're able to say, wait a minute,
Something ain't
something,
right.
something, you start key sweating, something ain't right, and
It's like he's sweating.
I'm
One of the things
sorry.
we
I
talked
like
about,
that.
Harold, is and this is what I can get what Mike was saying. I was all for a person that's collecting donations for something, and then when people who aren't donors question them, and he said, "If you're not donating, you can't ask me no questions." Even though I thought that was weird, I was like, "Okay, donors have preference for questions, right?" But then when they asked on a radio show, and they said, "Well, that's how you get." More donors. He said, if they
More
weren't donating
donors.
already, they're not. I said, does this fool not know what new donors mean?
And he
Does he
said, "No,
not
I got a
know?
nice little income coming in. I'm good. I ain't trying
No,
to draw too much attention to myself."
that pressure. It's that pressure on him now. See, that's the problem. Pressure
Yeah,
started to mount, and he's feeling it. And so now he doesn't want any new potential scrutiny or questions,
because that's what's gonna
but you got to
happen.
answer.
Mm.
He's got to answer.
It's gonna get too hot for him. It's like it's not already too hot already, but like it's gonna get more hot. You're just drawing more attention. Now I got to answer to more people. I got a good little income coming in. Y'all done got me 1.2 million. I'm chilling.
While you living at your mom's house off of her
At your
disability.
mom's house. Ooh.
Off her
Oh,
disability.
the shake.
I always said this, and I don't care what position you are, whether you're a grifter, whether you're a preacher, whether you're a family member, whether you're the running for office. When a person in any capacity you donate money to, your hard-earned money, and they tell you you can do more. I say it when I see churches online. I say it when I see grifters. I
Mm.
say it when I see people running. If somebody donates to you
We see
$50 and your
that, but
response
you got to
is,
do
you know,
more.
you can give 100, I'm checked out.
No, I'm submitting a refund request. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
we seen
If
that
my
tithes
50 did
bot.
not
We seen it.
satisfy you, if my 50 didn't satisfy you, then you don't need it.
You
Yeah.
didn't
Give it
need
back.
it. I'm gonna run it back.
Yeah.
There's a phrase they use too that also kills me, and people will use this phrase
Immediately.
that like a friend or family member that wants money for you. And it's like, hey, do you have $15? And you go, not at the moment. And they go, well, it's just $15. Well, if it's just $15, why don't you have it?
Woo! Because they spent it on something they shouldn't have.
Well, I'm just saying, I hate that phrase. It's just $10. Well, then, okay, well, if it's just $10, go. You should have it.
Go make $10 pop up out of nowhere then, since it's just $10.
One of the things we talked about also, Harold, before you came on is there have been several black people in black communities that have started a school just for black youths and tried to come to his aid and show him how to do it and help him out. There are companies because anytime you start a project that can get some publicity, whether they're doing it because of their heartfelt or because it's publicity, you're gonna have like a Home Depot coming in want to donate roofing material or whatever. You're going to have companies that want to come in. Like when he talked about the HVAC thing, there were so many HVAC people that were coming in, either giving him a discount or saying, we'll do it for free. I got that covered. And the another thing we talked about was how can you for 10 years say you have a team no one's ever heard, seen, or know any names of anybody that's on. Normally somebody's getting fired and would come out, right? Who's employed a team for 15 years almost and ain't fired nobody? No one's come out and said,
Let me give you another example. Let me give you an analogy. Let's look at community choirs. A lot of times you'll have a community choir where they become popular. They start moving around, going here, there, and everywhere. And then what happens? The founder or songwriter or whoever that creator is starts getting compensated. They're not dispersing any compensation to the choir members. They're still operating on volunteerism. And over time, you're going to get tired of one person getting all the benefits.
Yeah.
And you sitting there with your name on it. And then not only that, but then what happens when they feel that you're not doing things legally or properly? They're going to slide out the back door.
And we going to want our money.
And they ain't going to say nothing because, again, they don't want to sign their name to anything that's going to jeopardize or put them in some level of liability. So he could have started with a team. But I'm telling you, when money comes in the game, people get funny.
You know what? What's a great example of that? Now, Lo and Mike, I know y'all are young. Harold, have y'all ever heard Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes?
Oh,
I be musical, but I haven't heard that.
Okay, so Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes was a great group. You know who Teddy Pendergrass is, right?
Yes.
How you don't know who Teddy P is? Teddy P is why you were born, Mike.
Mike, okay, we going to take your black card. You keep playing. Keep playing. We're going to get the black card. We pulling up tonight to get the black card. Don't know anybody else.
Dave, I know his song.
He said, don't know nobody else. Mike.
Don't know nobody else.
I understand this before your time. He was before my time too, but he's the reason why you were born. Teddy Pendergrass, you got bad luck. That's what you got. That's what you got. Teddy Pendergrass,
they didn't do it.
That's not even the best #1 song. But anyway, he used to be the lead singer of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Even though he was the lead singer, it was Harold Melvin's group. Harold, do you know why he left the group?
Generally, it's always about money or positioning.
There you go. It's exactly what you're just talking about.
And
so
ego.
They're staying at a motel, and the band was hungry. And they're like, Teddy, you're the only one that can talk to him. Can you see if you can get something so we can get something to eat? So he went and knocked on the door and he said, hey, Melvin, the guys are hungry, $20 or something so we can get something to eat. He said, come in. So he came in and closed the door. He said, Harold, lift that mattress. And the mattress is just full of money. They over there starving. And this Negro got a mattress full of money. He said he reached in the mattress and gave him like $30 or something. I can't remember the amount, but it wasn't. Of a mattress full of money, it wasn't that much money. He said he didn't say nothing. He took the money. He went and got the guys something to eat. He didn't even eat. He let the guys get some food. He took the guys back to the hotel and he left and never came back. You had one of the greatest singers of all time as your lead singer, and he left because you had all the money and didn't even want to share it.
That's the love of money.
I was like, look, the way how you know I got money is that I'm gonna switch up on everybody. I'm gonna act like I don't know nobody. I'm kidding. It can't be me. I'm so much of a giver, even in my current state with me not even getting what I feel like is a lot of money. If I have somebody who needs like a 20 here, 50 here, maybe 100, shit is just kind of rough. If I got it, I'm usually giving it. So I don't know. I think even if I got a shit ton of money, I win the lottery or something, I got to be careful. 1 million, I guess I could throw you 1,000, and I have to be very careful.
And then you know what? People will be people will be ungrateful. You give somebody $1,000, like, I know you just won the lottery and won 5 million. That's all you give me. I could have given you nothing.
I could have given you nothing.
So one thing I want you to speak on before we get out of here, we talked about this, and it's this judging of manhood thing that always drives me crazy. So we used him as an example because there was a homosexual guy on one of his lives, and he said something to him, and he said that thing that a lot of toxic males will say. He said, "Well, you're a homosexual. You're not a real man, so you have no opinion." And that guy turned around and said, "I own my own house, and I raised 2 kids, and I have 2 cars, and you're staying at your mama's house living off her disability. So who's the real man?"
Well, I've often said that we as males, or males, I often say, don't fully understand what manhood really means. And it starts with, and I give you 2 R's, and that should sum up everything for you. One is respect, the other one is responsible. If you're respectful and responsible, then you can embrace the notion of manhood because, again, it covers everything that it entails or it embodies. Back in the day, I used to tell people we were confused about what manhood means because if it depends on who you're talking to. When you're talking to a woman, you want to show them that your private part that's your manhood.
Mike,
Now, when you get
with the 32 kids.
but then when you get locked up, you're trying to protect your manhood. What are you protecting?
Yo behind.
See, so we're even confused where manhood is.
Jesus, I never thought about
We
it.
don't even know where it is.
That's crazy.
So that's why I had to go back and get. That's why most people don't fool with me. Because I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you straight. Most people don't understand. When you're looking at manhood, you have to look at the fact that there's just so much that it encompasses. But to simplify it, I just came with respect and responsibility.
Yeah.
If you're not responsible, then how can you guide anybody? How
And
can
if you're
you
not
direct
respectful-
anybody? And if you're not respectful, that speaks for itself. That tells me you don't even have what God should have given you or what your parents should have instilled in you. Now, I do understand that there are people that come from certain circumstances and they may not have the same upbringing that I had
Hey, leave me
or
out of
that
this.
you all had. So there are some challenges along the way, but when we learn better, we do better. And when you want to, when at the time that you want to quote unquote have a family, whatever that family dynamic looks like, there's some responsibility there and there's some respect that has to be instilled there. And this is why a lot of our families are dysfunctional. Now, interesting thing, I got a video and I think I saved it. I heard Tim Tebow talking about white men recently.
Mhm.
And he said that basically white men are the most abusive fathers on the planet, the most abusive fathers on the planet. Meanwhile, they would want you to think the black man is the one that's irresponsible, that's not respecting his woman, and it's not doing whatever.
That's
Yeah.
one
So,
statistic that always bothers me because what they do with every time somebody tells me black men aren't in the home, and I tell them I teach youth, and most black families that I run into have 2 parents. What they do is if the black parent is in the home, they don't count the people who are co-parenting. Just because
Oh.
the father doesn't live at the house and they're not married anymore does not mean the father is not in the child's life. They don't count that.
They
Just
said they
well, let me
just
give
don't
it to you this
exactly.
way. Let me give it to you this way. A male in the house doesn't equate to a man in the home.
okay, you just gonna preach tonight.
I mean, this is
But
the way when this is the conversations that I have. A
but
male in the
sometimes
house does not equate to a man in the home because when I look at his granddad and my father was able to bring home his check, give it to my mom, and mom handled the business.
Yep, and
He
he
made
went to
sure
that.
mom had everything she needed.
Look, I can remember it as a kid. He came home, hand over a check, laid on the couch, opened that beer, and that's where he was until he fell
That's
asleep.
it. Through all of that, he handled his responsibilities.
hmm
Now, was he perfect? No, but
he did what he had to do.
he was a man because he was respectful and responsible. He even told me, Harold, if I had to fight your mama, I would leave because he didn't not get married to get into a fight. He did not
Right.
get married to be abusive. He got married because he loved my mother. Now, my mama would probably bust him upside the head with something, but that's a whole
Yeah,
nother story.
listen, that's a good
Well,
move. I always loved because his last name was Ford. Because I was a kid, I was a little kid, and I would see when he would get snappy, I would just hear her in the kitchen go Ford, and he would pipe on down and get back on the couch.
that's it. Mama didn't play. And she wasn't a big, intimidating presence
No,
either.
just a little
She was
thing.
a small.
But she's mama of the house, and you're gonna have to listen to mama when she's speaking. So
Ford.
That would be.
But going back to the initial, I think we are confused as to what manhood really is, which is why we can't clearly define it all the time, or most men can't define what it means or what it is. And sometimes you have to oversimplify things to help people understand. Yeah, you can. I knew a dude that had 11 babies from 11 different women. Now he thought he was the man back then. But as he got older and he now realized that he couldn't
It's expensive.
see all of his children, and he couldn't, he wanted his children to see his children for his birthday, but now you got to get 11 mamas to agree to drop the kids off
And good
at the
luck.
same time. His idea of manhood was he can do it to however many women he can. But he later regretted it. He told me straight up, man, I regret doing it to all. And I think even recently, Nick Cannon said something similar as he's going through therapy, that he wished he had not gone out and just had 12 babies from however many
10,
different
I think 10
mamas
baby
he's got.
mamas or something.
He wished he had, because what he was really doing is he needed some help. And that was the only way he was, quote unquote, helping himself.
Getting help.
And it's now he's starting to realize, wait a minute, I shouldn't have been doing that, because he now realizes what he put them through. They tolerate what it is because you can almost say they signed up for it. But at the end of the day, we got to step back, try to understand, more importantly, codify what manhood really means so that everybody's on the same page, even though it can manifest itself differently in different situations. But at least if you have a foundation, we don't even have a foundation of what manhood is. We don't.
Crazy.
A lot of
I
people are
guarantee.
lost. So a lot of people are lost.
Yeah.
A lot of people are lost. How do they get found, Mike? You don't know?
How did it get found from the situation?
Yeah, what am I asking? A trick question? I'm like, what just happened? Like, what am I asking? A trick question? We just talked about. Let me clue you in for the last 30 minutes of the show, Mike.
Wow.
Since you weren't here. We talked about Dr. Umar today a lot. Then we talked about grifters. Then we talked about manhood. What else did we talked about a lot? What else did we talk about, Lo? That Mike
NAACP.
NAACP.
And I was
we're at the
happy
point
that
where
I knew that a majority of the people who created NAACP wasn't black. Harold gave me the exact number.
I said, and then we got to the point of realizing that there is no definitive definition of manhood, and that a lot of people are walking around lost because of this. And we wanted to know, like, how do you get found?
Because Harold gave two phrases that resonated. The one quote was, just because, oh my God.
A male in the house.
A male in the house.
A male in the house doesn't equate to a man.
Not equate a man in a home.
Let that marinate for the people in the back. Lo, you asked the question. I don't even remember what my question was.
Your question to Mike was, how do you get found?
You get found